Hey guys, New Jersey Piper Ben here. Hope you're doing well. Got some Four Noggins bald-headed teacher in the Lenatra billiard again. But that's not what this video is about. Already did that video. It's a good blend. Yeah, in a recent video I made one of those sort of flippant offhand comments that probably get me my my thumbs downs. But I said something like a Dunkin' Donuts donut is not nearly as good as it used to be because that's what capitalism does. And again, just just saying silly things like that. I mean, there are probably, classes that get taught on that simple throwaway line alone, because it's not a throwaway line. There's a lot behind that. You know what I mean? It's obviously complicated, but Parsimonious Piper called me on it a little bit, and he was like, people are getting what they expect for their dollar. People aren't really going to Dunkin' to get a gourmet, eating experience, I guess was kind of the gist of it. And he kind of brought up that, I guess near where he is, there's a place called Duck Donuts. And he said it's right across the street from Dunkin', and they're both pretty busy for different reasons, but acknowledging that Dunkin' is more focused on beverages these days than they are donuts, which is certainly true. Oh, all right. My tripod started sliding back on my little banister here, my railing, so sorry about that. It'll be fun to go back and watch. But he said also, like, Duck Donuts has kind of horrible coffee, but really good donuts. So, people go to Duck for the donuts and they go to Dunkin' or somewhere else for the coffee. Yeah, I get that. But I'm kind of more leaning to how a company chooses to operate over a long time period. So, Dunkin's been around for a long time. And they've obviously grown and expanded over the years. I think they started in somewhere near Boston, Massachusetts area, basically New England. So, like, if you ever look at a map, it's really interesting. If you look at a map of Starbucks locations nationwide and Dunkin' locations nationwide on the same map, like, Dunkin' still almost has like a lockdown on New England. There's Starbucks in New England, to be sure, but there's far more Dunkins in New England. You can't, even here in Jersey, like, you can't go to a town. You're hard pressed to find a town here or anywhere north that doesn't have a Dunkin'. So, but nationwide there are far more Starbucks. But anyway, so yeah, Dunkin's been growing and expanding. And any company that has, I'm sure, I don't know what their parent corporation is, but I'm pretty sure Dunkin's a publicly traded company. Forgive me if I'm stating that incorrectly, but I would imagine they are by now, if they're not part of some other, like, larger conglomerate, like Yum Brands or something like that. But essentially what I'm getting at is you have a P&L, a profit and loss statement. You have a bottom line, so to speak. You have a margin or profit that you're trying to hit as a financial KPI as a company. So, what I'm getting at is it kind of boils down to how that company wants to operate and what they want to prioritize as a company. And I work for a really large company that is very financial driven, very financial KPI driven. So for as an example, if we want to launch a new product or start a project on an existing product, there's GM hurdles, gross margin hurdles, i.e. how much this thing is going to make hurdles. And if it doesn't pass that threshold, it doesn't get approved as a project. And you can obviously have a debate in a meeting and say, well, it maybe doesn't hit the hurdle right now, but for reasons X, Y, and Z, in 6 months we think it will, therefore we think we should go forward with it. And the upper management says yay or nay, and, move on. But specific to like Dunkin, the point is that back in 1991 or something, Dunkin was a much smaller company. They were probably trying to grow their business, and they were trying to grow their business through, word of mouth advertising, et cetera, but to a certain extent, you're hinging your success on the product you're offering. So you're going to want to have some pretty good quality. And the same is true for Duck Donuts. So I guess, my point would be for like something like Duck Donuts, which is a smaller company. I don't know how long they've been around. I think they were small for a long time. I think they started in the North Carolina area, if I'm not mistaken. But it seems like they're trying to expand. And again, I don't know what their boardroom meetings are like as far as what their goals are, as far as how fast they want to expand, how big they want to get. I'm not sure what those conversations are like, but hypothetical could be that they have some people in their upper management in their boardroom that want to grow very quickly, and they want to be as profitable as possible. So the bigger you get, it just becomes more of a thing that has to be actively managed, i.e. your finances and your bottom line. And again, you could be somewhat beholden to shareholder value. So if an individual invests in your company, they're going to want a return on that investment. And that return is going to hinge upon your ability to cut costs out of the operation and to save money and to operate as efficiently as possible. So you start having conversations like, I can buy flour or I can buy sugar cheaper from these guys than I can from these guys. If I buy more of it, I can definitely get it for cheaper. However, it's going to be in our inventory for longer, so that has an effect as well. So it's like weighing all these different things, but at the end of the day, depending on the sort of core values that you're operating under, you could run into scenarios where the quality of your product could suffer, but your return on investment, your profitability could get a big boost. And that's companies have to find that line of what's acceptable to them from a sort of quality reduction scenario, while, again, taking that financial hit. So as an example, we used to deal with hot sauce in my company. We've since sold that part of the business, but we owned a very successful national hot sauce brand. And in meetings on that side of the business, because I did some work on that side of the business, I found out we have tight controls over the peppers that we use and the farmers that we deal with that grow those peppers. We know those farms and we know those farmers. We know they have tight quality controls on the product they grow. So in our eyes, from a macro national POV, we were buying the best possible cayenne peppers we could buy. And that's something that they made sure to maintain in that business. They were like, we know we can get cayenne peppers cheaper from different sources. but we know those are not the best cayenne peppers we can source for these reasons. They audited that process, and they kept tight controls on that because regardless of anything else, they wanted to have the best hot sauce on the market, and their way of doing that was buying the best possible cayenne peppers on the market. So that's what they did, and of course, over time, people would come in and look at that, and people from outside the company, new hires, whatever, and say, I got company XYZ over here to quote cayenne peppers for us at the volume we buy it, and we could get it for much cheaper. And then somebody that'd been with the company for a longer time would say, no, we've already looked into their operation, and because of these reasons, we don't think they make as good of a product as the people we're currently buying from. So then you expand that out to multiple ingredients, multiple different products, especially if you have a company that has a diversified product offering, and you can kind of see how complex that can be. But again, it really depends on how the company wants to operate. If they want to prioritize quality over just about everything else, and they don't want to sacrifice on their quality, then they'll make that decision. But if they want to prioritize profit and shareholder value, et cetera, whether that's short term, long term, that's obviously a debate as well. You could argue, well, if you have a higher quality product, longer term, you're going to be more financially successful because you have that higher quality product. But then again, you have that same sort of mentality of, by this time, somebody going to Dunkin is not expecting a gourmet experience. And then again, too, I would argue, Parsimonious Piper said that Duck had pretty crappy coffee. But I would say if Duck had good coffee, I wouldn't have any reason to go to Dunkin at all. You know what I mean? If I could get kick-ass donuts and kick-ass coffee in one place, that's where I'm going. And I would pay a little bit more for that. 100% convenience, supporting a business like that's keeping quality at the forefront, as opposed to a business that's clearly cutting corners. And, in all honesty, the workforce kind of sucks sometimes. You can kind of see it. People are not taking pride in what they're doing. So, yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, is just given a long enough time frame, somebody is going to ask the question, hey, can't we save money here? And then that's when the debate starts, But yeah, like I said, there's obviously, and I don't have an MBA. I have a packaging degree, but I've been in enough meetings to kind of see these sort of philosophical battles take place, and it always shifts as leadership changes and people move on to different roles, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's obviously very complex, but and I usually guess what capitalism is. I'm not a Marxist. I'm not a communist. Those are two very different things, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I believe in capitalism. Capitalism pays my bills. It pays my mortgage, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah. Anyway, rambled long enough. I hope that wasn't too incredibly boring, but I did feel like Parsimonious Piper deserved a more thorough explanation for why I said that, and I'll try to avoid that in the future. I'd open up cans of worms, and the whole debate about thumbs up, thumbs down is going on right now with 13 Pipes' video and Full Doddle's video, which was great. And I've got a lot of hater lurkers out there that give me thumbs down, and that's fine. I mean, my channel is what it is. I don't want it to be crappy, but I'm not trying to do anything crazy with it either. I'm just trying to, blow off steam, smoke a pipe, and enjoy you guys' company as much as I can. But yeah, I mean, if you don't like my stuff, throw me a comment, tell me why. I love debate. I love being proven wrong. I relish in the idea of having my mind changed. That's great. That's how it should be. Everybody should hope that somebody makes a good enough argument to change your mind and make you think differently about something. And Chad Yardism is doing some great videos about that too recently. Had some really good comments from him, and sort of brain exercises and ways of thinking. But that's good. You should always maintain your curiosity, always ask questions, but don't sacrifice your moral fortitude. Have that firm. That's part of who you are, and to just go from there. It's the difference between right and wrong is not. I don't think it's normally that complicated. I think people kind of know, but just be able to defend it. Just if you have a position, be able to defend it intelligently. Be able to talk about it. That's the important thing, is having the discussion. That's what keeps the world moving, is discussions and debate and thoughtful conversation. I mean, it's kind of all there is in a lot of ways. It's good stuff. But yeah, that's my spiel on whether or not Dunkin has suffered in their quality over the years and why. But yeah, it's a long video. Sorry about that, guys. I'm sure my pipe's going out. I'm gonna enjoy my pipe. Beautiful evening. The weather gods are shining down on us recently. I think it's supposed to get hot again over the weekend. Not looking forward to that. But anyway, take care, guys. Be excellent to each other.